talked to a woman one time, and the look in her eyes has told it all. And as she shared, all she said over and over again that she knew her life was a waste and she had made too many mistakes to be forgiven. She was at her wit's end, and you could tell the guilt and shame she felt for the things she had done in her past. So I just spoke up and asked if I could share. And she said yes. I told her my life for many years was like an empty bottle of whiskey and a black Bible. I remember many of times when I felt most of the time insignificant, too broke to be put back together, and when no one was around, I would look at the man in the mirror and all I would see staring back at me was hopelessness. I made a lot of poor choices in my life, from drugs, alcohol, stealing, ran around chasing my own desires. I did things that I never thought I would. I took advantage of people and so much more. I had no self-worth or value, just empty and lost. And on the inside, I was ugly, mean, and nasty. And with my words, I just wanted to hurt people. That's because hurting people hurt people. But I didn't want to admit that I was hurting. No, not me. I was prideful. I asked her then if she related to any of that. And she said yes, and just asked me to keep sharing. So I did. I told her I was prideful and broken, and it was a deadly combination. Two words that seemed to be as opposite as black and white or up and down: broken and unwilling to ask anybody for help. I knew about God, but the idea of Him forgiving me, how could He if He knew about everything that I had done in my past? I had tried the whole Jesus thing a couple of times, but I had decided on my own in my heart that I couldn't be forgiven. My life was like an empty bottle of whiskey, full of false promises and feelings that never last, full of lies that sound good for the moment, but there was never any follow-through. Counterfeit feelings of the choices of me trying to cover my own past, filling holes in my heart with shots and substances that would never last, but leave me worse off every morning with a feeling of no love just as loud as my past. And my belief was just like this empty bottle on one hand and the Jesus of that black Bible in the other, that He could never cover the choice and the behaviors of my past, that I was forever scarred, marked, useless. So I thought. But that's where God stepped in. And I came face to face with God's grace. And it wasn't anything that I had done. No, I can't say that I had decided to change my life for the better. God's love just outran me. And it came through the form of a family who decided to forgive me for killing their daughter while drinking and driving and wrapping us around a tree. I deserved justice and judgment, and my past was bad as it could be. But I was confronted with unwavering love, forgiveness, and grace that I can't describe or even try to understand. And it was there that I began to realize what it meant when Jesus died and hung on that tree. It was specifically for me. And I told that lady all the guilt and shame she felt was nothing more than a lie. And regardless of what she'd been through, God's grace was sufficient for her too. And just as much as that bottle was empty, that this black Bible was full. It was full of hope, love, and full of life. And Jesus is more than a story in this black Bible, but He is the place where God met man to prove to every one of us that we were worth dying for. He was the answer to every hole in our heart and every drug that we seek. He was the solution to every hurtful word that's been said, because He heals our hurts. He's that love that's caused us to wake up ashamed next to somebody that we don't even know their name. He is Jesus, and I told her that He died for her. God doesn't forgive us because of anything that we're doing, but it's all because of what Jesus already did. Yes, if you believe in Jesus, you are forgiven, no matter what you've been through. And if He can use somebody like me, I told her He can most certainly use you. But you can't take my words for it. No, you have to find out for yourself. Just follow Jesus and you'll see that everything that I said is true, and that your past no longer defines you, and that God's love is on a mission to outrun you. She just started crying and weeping, and you could see the glimmer of hope in her eyes. And all she said, with tears streaming down her face, was thank you. And just as much as I shared that message with her, people need to know that that message is for them too. You are forgiven no matter what you've been through, and your past no longer defines you. You just have to look to Jesus and follow Him. You are forgiven.